Today, saying on Twitter, I want to first thank you all for all the support and the love you consistently show toward me. All of you are amazing, and I appreciate you all so much. I want you all to know not to believe everything you read about me. Let me personally answer your questions. Okay, in regards to my future plans, as of March 2nd, I requested a trade from the Ravens organization for which the Ravens has not been interested in meeting my value. Any and everyone that's met me or been around me know I love the game of football, and my dream is to help a team win the Super Bowl. You all are great, but I had to make a business decision that was best for my family, and no matter how far I go or where my career takes me, I'll continue to be close to my fans of Baltimore Flock Nation and the entire state of Maryland. You'll see me again.
Lamar Jackson has essentially filed for divorce from the Baltimore Ravens. But as it is with lots of divorces, reconciliation is always possible. The real reason that Lamar Jackson isn't being signed right now by any NFL team is simple. It's collusion. There is no way, no possible way, that every single team in the NFL has no interest in Lamar Jackson. It's not possible. There's too many teams with the need for a viable quarterback. It's the money and it's the deal structure. And everyone knows it, but they just don't want to say it. Listen to what Dan Patrick, a former ESPN anchor, has to say about this right here.
The NFL Players Association says that it's a brutal conspiracy against Lamar Jackson. The owners are, quote, potentially colluding against highly sought-after players by refusing to offer fully guaranteed contracts. This is all about Deshaun Watson. The problem I had with the Lamar Jackson situation is the timing of all of the owners who came out and said, we're not interested. It was like a mass email, a blast that came out. We're not interested. So nobody was interested, and nobody was interested at the exact same time. That sounds like colluding. Here's the issue. The owners do not want Lamar Jackson to get that fully guaranteed deal. They don't want him to get a Deshaun Watson deal, because if you do, now that means Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert, and Joe Burrow are going to get the same contracts. They don't want to reset the quarterback market. They want this to be a standalone. The Browns were stupid. They overpaid for Deshaun Watson. They had to. But the owners, and this has been well reported, not happy with what the Browns did with Deshaun Watson. They want to look at this as that's a standalone contract. That ain't happening.
Deshaun Watson's deal with the Cleveland Browns was a complete mistake. And every single owner and GM in the NFL knows it. And every single owner and GM in the NFL doesn't want that to happen ever again. And as Dan said, they just aren't interested in resetting the market for quarterbacks. If I'm an owner, there's no way I want to give hundreds of millions of dollars away to an NFL quarterback on a guaranteed contract who hasn't won me a Super Bowl ring. So unless your name is Patrick Mahomes, don't bother applying for a $300 million guaranteed contract. Did you know that there are only 5 active quarterbacks in the NFL who've won a Super Bowl in the last 10 years? Joe Flacco, who's pretty much done, won his in 2013. Russell Wilson, who got a big contract, won one in 2014. Nick Foles, who's barely active, won his in 2018. Matt Stafford, who's showing his age, recently won one, and he got a big contract. And then, of course, Patrick Mahomes, who's won 2 in the last 5 years. That's the gold at the end of the rainbow that gets you the guaranteed contract. I'm not giving anyone a guaranteed contract for $200 or $300 million who hasn't brought the ring home for his team. And let's just ignore the Cleveland Browns with Deshaun Watson. There's no telling what they were thinking. That is an outlier. It wasn't deserved, and it's a mistake, and it shouldn't be the measuring stick for all future quarterback deals. But there's even more collusion that Lamar Jackson is up against. Listen to what RG3 says about the rest of the collusion.
I want to, enlighten everybody about what's going on. Everyone talks about how Lamar doesn't have an agent and how it's hurting him. Well, we've seen guys like Laramie Tunsil go out and negotiate 2 contracts to become the highest paid left tackle without an agent. We've seen Richard Sherman do it. Bobby Wagner has done it. DeAndre Hopkins has done it. So not having an agent isn't what's keeping Lamar Jackson from getting this fully guaranteed contract. What's preventing him from getting this fully guaranteed deal is the fact that he is raging against the machine. What's the machine? It's agents, it's NFL insiders. All of these guys, they don't want their bottom line to be affected. You talk about the agents, they want a piece of this contract because that's how they make a living. The NFL insiders, they want a piece of the information because that's how they make a living. So by Lamar not having an agent and cutting them out, not having the direct ties to every NFL insider out there, cutting them out, he's raging against that machine, and he's not winning that battle right now.
But with all this being said, both sides will probably come to their senses. Lamar Jackson will realize he's not going to get $250 million guaranteed, but some team will pay him $40 million a year on a shorter contract, and that team may even be the Baltimore Ravens. In his divorce from the Ravens that Lamar Jackson tweeted about, reconciliation is still possible, but that reconciliation is only possible if both sides, the Ravens and Lamar, agree to commit to some really big changes. But once he realizes that a big-time guaranteed contract is off the table, then we're going to see some things happen. The frenzy will begin. And all of a sudden, all these teams who immediately said they weren't interested in Lamar Jackson are going to have a sudden change of heart. And that includes Stephen Ross, Chris Greer, and the Miami Dolphins. So Barry, what are you saying? Are you saying they all lied and none of them have an interest in Lamar Jackson? Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. There's going to be a team somewhere in the league who initially said, we have no interest in Lamar Jackson, all of a sudden have a miraculous change of heart and be interested in signing Lamar Jackson. It's called negotiating, or in this instance, collusion. It's also called big business. And I've been saying that over and over to the Miami Dolphins fan base, that you can't listen to what coaches and GMs say in March and February because they're running a big business. Listen to John Harbaugh here, the coach of the Baltimore Ravens, underscore that.
I mean, this is the real world. This is big time pro sports at the highest level.
Wake up, people. All fan bases understand that every single GM and every single NFL owner is going to position their team the best they possibly can to win the Super Bowl. Nothing is off the table. So let me know what you think about the Lamar Jackson dilemma and where it's going to end up and who may end up signing Lamar Jackson. Talk to you soon.
They don't want him to get a Deshaun Watson deal, because if you do, now that means Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert, and Joe Burrow are going to get the same contract. They don't want to reset the quarterback market. They want this to be a standalone. The Browns were stupid. They overpaid for Deshaun Watson. They had to. That ain't happening.